man, I wrote 4 apps. I'm the best! I'm the best! I'm the best salesperson because I wrote 4. Listened to a little bit of straight line selling before.
Never heard of it.
Jordan Belfort talks about straight line selling. Josh Lustig was talking about future pacing, right? A lot of these things go hand in hand. So I started doing a little digging. Okay? A little digging. And what we're going to talk about is the airtight logical case to buy versus the airtight emotional case. You see, if this is the straight line, this is new prospect right here, and this is closed sale. I've got them in this order, right? So as I'm digging, most prospects, now first I want to paste something. So some of you guys are used to closing really, really easy leads. Really, really, and I can see it. Like I can see like certain leads, you're like closing, you're like, man, look at all these apps. But they were like hot to trot, you know, ready to buy a lay down. And then there's a different type of lead, much lower, you know, success rate. But I want you to treat every single lead the same way, even when they're easy. Because if you don't, you're going to get used to the lay down, and you're going to expect the lay down. So that when I don't have lay downs, you're like, man, it's slow. But we have tons of lists. I pulled a list of like 1,000 people I sent to Mallory this morning that are not taken and withdrawns from Manhattan Live's database. Meaning they never took effect. We had like 1,000 of them, you know, that we can go through as leads. You know, got that with Cigna. We got that with all these different companies. So we have tons of lists of prospects, always people to call. But that's colder traffic. Much better when somebody just rings in and says, I'm turning 65 and my sister told me to call and get the Plan G and a dental policy. And you're like, man, I wrote 4 apps. I'm the best! I'm the best! I'm the best salesperson because I wrote 4 apps. And then y'all hurt Sid like that.
Dang, my foot.
Then he can't do videos and we go out of business. So I hope your 4 apps had some big premiums. You see what I'm saying? Just trying to set that pace so that y'all take this serious. Okay? We need to set the airtight logical case first, and then go into the airtight emotional case. The airtight logical case is if I'm going along this line and I'm talking to this guy, I'm doing what Charles Skank was talking about when he said, you know, John, we believe when, as you get older, your money should become safer. It's very logical. Very logical. You know, we believe your money should become safer. We want to show you a strategy where there's no downside, you cannot lose, but you can participate in gains. It's an extremely logical, you know, concept, and most of our customers are very satisfied with this approach as they approach retirement. You're setting that logical case. So sometimes this can get, you know, sometimes it's easy, right? You're setting that logical pace, and some people are like, yeah, okay. And then you get to a point in here where you start to make an offer, and they say, well, I want to think about it. And so your rebuttal, just so you know, should be, okay, well, does the product or the solution that we talked about, does it not make sense? Do you have any, you know, questions or objections? Just flat out ask them. And say, well, it makes sense, you know, it makes sense, but that tone you can hear, it's not like it makes 10 cents, it makes 2 cents, 3 cents. They want to do more research on it, right? So what you do is, this is where they're at down here at a 5 on certainty. You want to enter their world. You know, you're right, John. It does make sense. And then you want to bring them right back to where you started, and you go straight through your pitch again, but you amp it up this time. You need to pull out some more stops in this approach. So if we're talking about annuities and safe money, then we're talking about, you know, pulling it up and talking about, you know, the massive highs you can participate in, but what they're used to and seeing this massive market fluctuation, you're not going to see anymore. So you start really, really hitting to, you know, the logical pace, and then get them back to this point and say, does that make sense? And try to raise that certainty level. A lot of times you can get somebody completely through this logic portion, but nobody's ever really a 10 on logic. A 10 on logic is on logic alone, I'm buying. It's so logical, I'm so logical, I'm not emotional, I'm buying. A lot of people never get there. They get somewhere up in here to 8 and 9 on logic, but they still want to do more research. When I tell somebody that I have every company in the state and I've checked all the rates, and they still say, well, I want to check alone. Well, it's like what the Jordan Belfort thing in the movie where he said, the only thing that they're not trusting is you. They don't believe you. They want to fact check you. So you have to do something, to make them check. So, but you get that certainty up to an 8 or a 9 in that pitch. Keep entering their world. If you get them back and you're at a 7, keep entering the world. Don't let them off the phone. Too many of you guys on the harder leads are saying, yeah, I talked to them, great conversation. They're going to call back in a couple of days. Are they? How many people have you talked to that said they were going to call back and they did? And let me break it down to this. How many people from further than 50 miles from Tupelo have told you they would call back and never called back? We take for granted that in this circle where we're super hyper branded, where the trust factor is there before you even talk to them, the trust by the time they talk to you is at 6 already, or higher, for so many of them. But you get outside the area and you're talking to them, the trust factor is at a 1 or a 0, and you're raising it up. You might raise it to a 5, but then they say, I'm going to call you back. What they do is they call around and shop you. And then they get a guy that's better than you at selling, like me, and I get the trust factor to a 9, and then I start making emotional cases about why they should do things now and close them. And they say, well, that other guy was nice, but this guy's nice, and frankly, I don't know what happened. I just ended up signing up. I don't know what happened because he started using things like Josh Lustig talked about, future pacing. He said, okay, so we know that you're at a 9 here. We get you to a 7 or 8 or whatever. Anything about 7 to 9, I would feel like. And that's a gauge that you can project internally on their tone. And so when you are talking to your husband and you think they're at a 5 on certainty on something you want them to do, you got to raise that certainty level before you start, projecting the emotional side into it. The emotional side is where the future pacing comes in. Once you think you have them certain enough in the product, but they're still wanting to shop around, they're saying, I'm certain this is what I want, I just don't know if I'm buying from you yet. Well, then you start using that future pacing stuff where you say, okay, John, now when you have the Aetna Plan G, you're going to be able to go to any doctor you want to. Everything's taken care of except that small deductible. When you get your Medicare card a couple months from now, we're going to be able to come back and take care of your drug plan. And we can go ahead and take care of that dental, vision, and hearing plan. Now, when you're using that dental, vision, and hearing plan, the cool thing about this one is you can use any dentist you want to, and it's going to pay in the long run much higher on majors and other things. So you're taking some of that emotional case that they already know, but you start using things like future pacing, where they're feeling like they've already done it. When. Not if, not try. Those are like questionable terms. Josh is right about that. You gotta quit. And you can do it in every single situation. Jackson was in here talking to a lady in dental, vision, and hearing, and I hear her saying things like she starts objecting to the higher end limitations on the dental, vision, hearing policies, limited at 2,000, whatever. You can make it about product. Of course, the cool thing about what we do is we can fluctuate by product to product. We can find one with a higher potential payout. But at a certain point, you just have to, when they say, well, I don't know about that, $2,000 limit. If that was the only one you had to sell, you wouldn't just say, well, Mary, piss off, get the hell out of here, that's all I got. You can't, so weak, pathetic people become salespeople sometimes, and they just think, I'll just present the product and people will buy it. But they don't. Right. Because they want to question it. Nobody wants to buy this crap. They want it a little bit. They want to get their teeth cleaned for free. When they come in and it's not perfect, they don't want to do it. So what you have to do is you have to then enter their world. So Mary's down here at a 2. She's like, well, it's better than nothing, but geez, if I just put this so much money away for this long, and she started doing math, and you need to get Mary out of the math game. Math is easy for Pete Fournier. Math's not easy for Mary. Okay? Get Mary out of the math game. So, well, let's talk about Mary. I get it. I get it. When I look at these plans, I think the same thing sometimes. We have these higher end limitations. Why don't they just have an unlimited one? Shoot, if they had an unlimited, that's the one we'd sell for sure. Right now, this one's actually a pretty good one. So I'm going to bring her back here and say, let's think about it logically now. Let's say when you have this plan 2 years from now, and you're at 80% coverage, $3,000 a year it's covering. You're going into the dentist, you're getting a crown, 2 crowns. Crown's about $900 each. We're looking at this thing paying 80% of those, and then you start turning it into the math problem you want to tell, not the math problem they're telling. So you're entering that re-logical phase. Enter their world, agree with them, loop them back to logic, make them think about things in a different framework. It's easy for me on that dental pitch, by the way, because I'll say, well, I have the dental, vision, and hearing policy, and I used to think some of the same things you think about it, but most years I've at least gotten what I've put into it back, and when I have a big year for dental, vision, or hearing, some combination thereof, I'm making money off of the policy. And I say, the insurance companies make money off the people that don't use the policy. As long as you go do your routine stuff and you use it. So those are logical concepts, right? So I'm trying to raise that certainty level up here, and then eventually I'm entering this emotional phase where I'm saying, all right, now when you use this, and I'm talking about it, you're going to give a lesson like, when you use this, you're going to have a legitimate card. That card is going to be, it's a real nice card they have. I hate companies that give cheap paper cards. It makes me feel like it's cheap insurance. You're going to have a real nice card. You're going to take it in. If you ever have a problem with billing, you can call our office and we'll help you out with it. We're saying things, but we're putting them in the mindset, you have the coverage already. So that when I decide to sell, I don't have to say, now do you want it? I've already talked about it, and she's sitting there going, okay, all right. She's agreed with me that she has it in the future. So I say, all right, so all I need now is your, I got all this info they're an agency block already. I already have this information. I just need to get a few more things, and you just start in the application. And here's some test closes on the entering the application, just in case you want them. This will be helpful for Jackson. Say now, I love it when their name is like John Smith because it doesn't work. But let's say their name is like Mary Wozniak. You say, now Mary, you spell that M-A-R-Y, right? And did you have a middle initial? Okay, and Wozniak. I'm not even going to attempt that one, Mary. Can you tell me how you spell that? And then you're entering the application. You know what I mean? That's it. And then it's off to the races. Address, phone number, everything all the way down. You're not asking, can I sell you this now? Like, can I have your commission on this product now? That's you don't need to do that. You just start entering the application, because once you've gotten the logical mindset, you've raised the certainty level a little bit, and this cycle can be really short or really long. A lot of times it depends on what you're selling. On a dental policy, it should be very short. You should be able to, and you should practice it and get it, really, really good. Keep picking on Jackson. Jackson, your conversation skills are really good. Just have that confidence that, yeah, I see what you're saying, Miss Mary. Bring it back here, raise logic. And then this emotion side is really, right now, on a lot of these products, just future pacing. Just saying that when you have this, you're going to have a card. You can go to any dentist you want to. This I might say if you had any kind of issue, you're probably not. Most people don't. But if you did, you let me know. But you're saying when. When you file a claim, if they give you any problem, just let us know and we'll help you out. That's just tearing down those last rebuttals. But it's pretty much all it is, guys. That's the pace. If it's annuities, it's the same thing. It's a bigger side of it. But you're coming in and you're saying all the things that logically make sense. Does that make sense? When you're asking them, does that make sense? And you want to gauge their certainty level. If you get through the logical side of an annuity and you say, does that make sense? And they say, yeah, that's exactly what I want. You've sold it. All you got to do now is find out how much money they have and start the process. If you say that and they say, yeah, well, you need to go back and re-logical, recreate that logic case until they're like, yeah, that's what I want. And even at that point, if they don't have it through you can start that emotional phase where you're saying win, and then making them think they've pretty much already committed to it. And subconsciously, they really do start to begin that they've committed to it. And you can use that on your husband. When you buy me this Louis Vuitton, I am going to be so happy, and happy wife equals happy life. When you buy me a Chanel bag, oh my God. You know what I mean? You can really use that. And they'll be real.
Bye.